All right, awesome. We'll go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Alertus Power Lunch, leveraging custom event triggers. My name is Sarah, and I'm a training specialist here at Alertus. I'm also joined by Brooke, another training specialist who will be leading the conversation today. And during this session, we will explore how to use custom event triggers to extend the capabilities of your Alertus system and meet your organization's specific needs. So when the Alertus system identifies a qualifying event, custom event triggers can instruct your system to perform one or more user-defined actions in response. So common uses include filtering alerts based on criteria, or integrating with third-party systems, or using custom event triggers with panic buttons. And this is an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions or throw them into the chat or Q&A feature. Also, please be aware that this session is being recorded for training purposes. But without further introduction, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Brooke to get started.
All right, thank you, Sarah. And hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we are going to take a look into our Alertus console. So when I'm logging in as an administrator, I will be greeted with this home page, and then, of course, my left-hand navigation bar. Where Custom Event Triggers lives is going to be in the Configure System settings, and then where it says Custom Event Triggers here. So I'm going to be spending time in this page today. I'm also going to be taking a look at the event dashboard today as well. So we'll be toggling back and forth between there. But what you can see at the top of this page, custom event triggers provide a powerful and flexible way to extend the capabilities of the Alertus system to meet your organization's specific needs. So we're going to take a look at a few examples today, specifically this tornado watch example, a Wi-Fi panic button example that I will find right here. And then I'm going to take a look at an Alertus software panic button for Alertus Desktop 7 today. And then, of course, once again, the chat and QA is open and available for you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to chat the chat, and Sarah can answer while I'm chatting, or I'll cover it in the session. So taking a first look at the Wi-Fi panic button. So if you have a personal Wi-Fi panic button, you can come in here and set up custom event triggers. For each of these parts, for adding any specific custom event triggers, there are specific criteria and things you need to meet. So going through all of the steps first before we hop into the examples, the first one will be a name. So what is this custom event trigger doing? Give that one a name here. Description is optional. So if you wanted to add a further description, then you can. Then we have these two toggles, enabled and stop processing. Enabled is just going to be if the custom event trigger is live and will be working. So if you want it to be working, you have it enabled. If you want it to be off, you have it disabled. And then stop processing. This is going to say if you want this event to stop processing and stop looking for other custom event triggers after it's already met this criteria. So almost always you're going to have this on unless you want, like I said, this custom event trigger is matched, your alert system does something, and then it's going to keep looking for more things to do, then you would have this turned off. But if you want it to stop once it has executed that action, then you would leave this on. The next part is going to be the event and criteria. So you can choose between any and all of these different event sources. Like I said, we're going to look at panic button activations today and also CAP alerts. But when I select one of these, I'm also going to be able to choose different criteria. And then the criteria is going to come from the event itself. So you can select any and all of these different criteria. You can add different criteria to say contains or equals with specific values. You can also have advanced settings that say if 1 and 2 are true, or if 1 or 2 are true, to really have this formula be as customized as you need it to be. And then the last step will be the action. So if these criteria are true, then what will happen? Will we send a preset alert, which you can pick from? We can also send multiple preset alerts if you want to. Maybe we would send one that is an evacuate to one building and one that is a shelter in place to another building. So you can have that go at the same time. You also can do different, like send emails or enable or disable certain things. So there's a lot, like I said, of flexibility in this section. So, but basically, if the criteria appears true, then these actions will happen. So now if we take a look into the examples, into that Wi-Fi panic button example here, we will see that I have given it in a name. I have enabled it, so it will work. I will say that this is going to, once this is true and it has executed its actions, it will stop processing. And then my criteria is specific just to my individual Wi-Fi panic button. So this is the MAC address that lives on the back of my Wi-Fi panic button. So if this button is pressed, then it will send out this specific preset alert. If you wanted to have more broad criteria, you can use things like client name equals or contains Wi-Fi panic button. And also this is capitalized, like you have to make sure you're putting in the right information for the criteria so it matches the event. So you could have that there as well. And then you can get rid of this MAC address if you want. So now any Wi-Fi panic button that you hit will then send out this preset alert. For this criteria, somewhere that is a really handy place to go to figure out the criteria that you can pull in is the event dashboard. So if I go to my event dashboard here, I can sort it by different events that have come in. And this is displaying things that have been processed by Alertus already. So once again, it's things that are coming into Alertus to tell Alertus what to do. So if I sort by panic buttons, I will scroll down past my map and I will see that I have one that is specific for my mobile panic button right here. You can see this is my MAC address. So this is my Wi-Fi panic button, excuse me, my Wi-Fi panic button here. And then what it did is over here. So it executed this specific custom event trigger. It activated this preset alert and it sent out this alert ID. And the actual criteria that's coming in, you can view the details of in this magnifying glass. So if I click this here, I'm able to see that the MAC address that came in is the one that I used. The client name is Wi-Fi panic button. That's the other criteria that you could use. But any of this criteria you can pull in to a custom event trigger. So once again, if I come here and I am looking at my Wi-Fi panic button, I can choose any and all of these criterias that match these criterias here that are being pulled in to the system. If you scroll, you're also able to see the raw XML payload that is coming into the system as well, but both of these say the same information, just in different ways. So that is where you can find and use the criteria for there. Another example that we can take a look at is with cap feeds. So Alertus allows you to set up something called Threat Watcher, where you can have NOAA alerts come in to Alertus and then have Alertus automatically send out alerts when a specific type of weather event happens. I have one specifically for a tornado watch. So this is, if I go in here, I can say that it will automatically send a ticker to when a tornado watch is advised. It is the event source is a cap alert, because once again, that's coming in from a cap feed. It is coming in, it contains the words tornado watch. Here I have it set to either target my location or my geocodes. That's why I have this set up as number 2 or 3 or 4. So if something comes in for a tornado watch in either of these 2 county zones or in this location distance, and it also has tornado watch and it is one of these severities, then it will send out one of these preset alerts. It will send out this specific one here. So you will have to have this cap feed and threat watcher enabled in your middleware settings in order for Alertus to be pulling that in. So if you are interested in getting the your weather alert set up to come to you, then definitely chat with your account manager and they can get you set up with either training or implementations to get that going. But like I said, this will now automatically send out alerts when there is a tornado watch. If I look back at my event dashboard, you will see that I have, if I sort by cap alerts, I have a lot of different weather alerts coming in, especially right now. It has been super windy and super cold in Baltimore. So I'm seeing all of these things here. As you can tell, they're executing this specific custom event trigger 29. And that, if I look back, is actually something called my catch-all. So down here, number 29 catch-all, this is saying that these are going, if anything comes in from a cap feed, then it will ignore. And I put it at the bottom because that is going to be my execution level down at the bottom. So anything else above will hit it. But that's where you're seeing those come in from. I can use those specific events in my event dashboard to create an ad hoc event for a tornado watch. So to test weather alerts, it's a little bit trickier just because we can't like tell NOAA to send a tornado watch warning right now out to Baltimore. So we will need to create something called an ad hoc event. So what you would do to test if that is working is you would come here to one of your other weather type events, and I will click this resend a modified version of this event here. And everything is going to stay the same as long as I'm meeting the same criteria, but I'm going to change the event name where it says winter weather advisory. I'm going to change that to a tornado watch. It is going to also have to have the same criteria here. So it's going to have to hit one of my zones and be of a severity of this type. So I'm going to make sure that my severity is set to moderate. So it is set to moderate here. That is fine. And then my codes are coming in at the bottom here. And I know that it has hit Baltimore because I've received this one. So now I have this ad hoc event that I've created. If I come down here to the bottom to send event, it will actually execute. So it will send out the preset alert that it is set to target. Mine is set to send a ticker to my desktop. So when I send this alert, I will see that now it has executed this custom event trigger. It has sent this alert. It is an active alert in the system. And any second now, we will see it come up on my computer.
Conditions are favorable for a tornado to develop. Remain indoors if possible.
I will cancel this.
Monitor the system for further information.
And now I will also acknowledge this on my computer screen. But this is how a good way to test that your weather alerts are working properly before an actual tornado watch is in effect. So definitely make use of these ad hoc events on the reset modified version of the event option here. And if I look here, now I have an event that technically says the event details was winter weather advisory, but it says tornado watch now, and it executed an actual custom event trigger. All right, and so we have taken a look now at our Wi-Fi panic buttons and our NOAA cap feeds for weather alerts. Now I'm going to take a look at my Alertus desktop software panic buttons. So those are these right here. So I can set these up to be custom event triggers. They also can be just preset alerts, but if you set them up as custom event triggers in Alertus Desktop 7, then you are able to have it be a little bit more dynamic. And so what I mean by that is right now, this specific custom event trigger is set to have, if anyone presses a menu item that says press for help, which is this one right here, and it's coming in from an IP address that starts with this number, then it will execute this panic button press for building 1. So you can set this up with different IP addresses to do different things. This one is set up for this specific IP address. So if I come down here and I press for help, we will see that now it has succeeded. I have an active alert in the system. And any second now, we will see it pop up on my desktop screen.
Trusley has requested emergency assistance via Alertus desktop.
We can see the devices, the groups I'm part of, the date and time, etc. I'm going to remove that alert from my screen and acknowledge it. and I'll also cancel that here. And so that is once again showing how that can be set up for Alertus Desktop 7. But the way to make it dynamic, you could, if you wanted to, have this set up for different buildings and different IP addresses or different campuses. So if I clone my Alertus Desktop 7 panic button system tray one, and I set this one maybe for building 2, I am running out of space. So building 2, I can now change the IP address to be, maybe it begins with 176 instead of 192. And then I have a different preset building for building 2. So if you have like different response teams for different campuses or different people that you need to address and send out the alerts to, you can set this up and add this here. So now whoever has that specific IP address can come in here and have that work for them for building 2 and also for building 1 at the same time with this same exact button, depending on the IP address that it's coming in on. Yes, so those were the 3 examples that I did want to show. The other thing that I wanted to cover in this is the specific execution order here. So up here at the top, you can click change execution order. This will change this on the side here. You can see the execution order here. And the execution order is very important. It will, the system starts at the top and works its way down through each one. And that's also why stop processing is important, because if this is set to true, if it hits number 1, it will not continue looking for any other of these executions underneath. So if you want this one to be above this catch-all, you will need to set that in the execution order. So you would just come up here. I just created this new one, so I will want it to be above my catch-all just in case, and I will save that here. And now, once again, I will see that my catch-all's at the bottom for my cap alerts. Everything else is above, and it will start at the top and work its way down the system to check and see if it was true for any of the criteria there. So definitely make sure that you are setting up your execution order properly and having any catch-alls at the bottom. The last thing on this page that is important to show is this event test mode. Right now it is currently disabled, so all events will be processed normally. However, if you are working on setting up your different panic buttons or any other sort of custom event triggers that you're setting up for weather alerts or things like that, and you want to do some testing before you have it live, you could click this enable test mode button and it will turn off all of your custom event triggers and panic buttons. So right now, none of your panic buttons will work the way that you need them to, like they will not actually execute the function, but it will come into the event dashboard and tell you what it was supposed to do. So right now, if I look at my event dashboard and I refresh this, I am able to see that press for help button that I just did and sent out was true, and it executed this different event right here. However, now with my test mode on, I'll give that another try. I'll press for, oops, I pressed the wrong one. But I will press for help. It will say that it failed, because once again, this is not actually going to execute anything, but I can come into my event dashboard and refresh this. And now I'll see that it did come in, but it says it was test mode was enabled. And so it didn't actually do anything, but it tells you what it would have done. So it did match specific criteria and it would have activated this preset. So you're able to see what Alertus would have done with that, but it didn't actually have an active alert here or send out anything in the system. So it's just another way to test and make sure that things are working properly in your system before going live. If you do want to go live with things, do make sure that you have this disabled. And now you can see that my screen is no longer red and I have all of my custom event triggers enabled again. And so if I went through and I press this, press for help, now we'll see that it has been successful. I'll come back to my event dashboard. Also, once again, it will show up on my computer screen.
Brooke Petruzzelli has
Here we go.
requested emergency assistance via Alertus.
So I'll acknowledge that, and I will also cancel this alert as well. And then if I scroll down to my event dashboard, I will see that it did actually execute this. So that's what these processing details will show. It actually executed it, or if test mode is enabled, it will show up like this. So that is the very quick overview of custom event triggers. These are incredibly dynamic and useful for lots of different use cases. If you have specific, like I said, use cases that you want to address, definitely reach out to your account manager or to the implementations team or to the training team. We also have a KB article that Sarah's going to share in a second as well. All right, I'll throw it back over to Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. That was very helpful. And yes, we did get a question about any post-training materials that we'll be sending out. So I did go ahead and put in the chat to everyone the link to a user guide on our customer portal for how to create custom event triggers. So this will walk you through step by step a lot of what Brooke was showing today to help you get all of your custom event triggers set up. And that customer portal, it's at help.alertus.com if you want to go there directly. And there's a ton of really helpful user guides and articles there. So definitely recommend checking that out. And also let your account manager know if you haven't logged in there yet, and they can set you up with an account to make sure you have access to all of those resources. And then I did just see we also got a question about how to create those desktop panic buttons. So the ones that Brooke was showing are the desktop software panic buttons that you can create with Alertus Desktop 7. So she can show you where that is done in the Alertus console.
Yeah, so it does depend on your, as Sarah was mentioning, your Alertus desktop version. So if you have Alertus desktop 5 or versus 7, it's different things. And you can tell if you right click on your desktop icon and go to this about section, you will be able to see your version number. So I'm on version 7.2. You can see what version you're on. If you're on version 7, those desktop panic buttons are set up centrally in the Alertus console. When you come here and you create these different panic button profiles, and then you will assign it to an Alertus desktop profile here. So you can see that my panic buttons have been set up to look a certain way in this area. If you have Alertus Desktop 5, those are configured on your actual configuration file. So if you do want some assistance with this, I do recommend reaching out to us or your account manager, and we can take a look at your current setup and how much implementations time you'll need if needed. And also I do see that it is Katrina reaching out for it. So Katrina, Sarah, can you mark down that we'll just follow up with you directly after with some information, and also if you want to set up a training specifically.
Of course. Awesome.
Great.
Just make a note.
I'm also seeing a question from Steph. Does the function of sending an alert to the system tray desktop 7 icon replace panic buttons, or what is the use case for a USB panic button? No, it does not replace panic buttons. This is just another option for you. The USB panic button would be, it would trigger the same type of alert. So as you can see in my specific default, I also do have the ability to, where is it? Set up a USB panic button right here as well. These are, we call software panic buttons, because you will have to be logged into your computer and right click on the icon and then press them on your computer. The USB panic button will be able to be activated for a different preset alert that you can either be like logged out with your computer on, and you would just press the button and it would activate the preset. So that's just another type of use case. If you want to be able to press a physical button, maybe hidden under the desk for a more discreet way to send anything, that is just, once again, another option for you. Great.
So yeah, those were some great questions. Definitely feel free to continue putting them in the Q&A box or in the chat. Brooke and I will stay on the call for a few more moments to see if we do get any other questions coming in. But thank you everyone for joining this Power Lunch today, and hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully we'll see you in some future Power Lunch sessions.
Oh, actually, before everyone pops off, we do have a new thing in our customer portal. So if you are in your Alertus console and you go down to support, and then you go to your customer portal here and log in with your at help.alertus.com with your specific criteria for this. We do have the power lunches that are coming up. We will update this for March soon. But then when you come in here, there will be a new tab up at the top under training. So if you go to training up here, there are old power lunch videos you can watch. So if you've missed anything that you would like to come and watch these different videos for, then you can find these here. We also do have, I believe there is already one here for leveraging custom event triggers. So this was like a repeat session that we had today, but you can watch an older version of that here. If you want today's version, then we will be updating this page and or sending it out if needed as well. So definitely take advantage of this section to review that. Awesome. All right. Once again, Sarah said, we'll be on the line for a few more minutes, but thank you all for being here and being engaged in today's session. And next week we have, do you have it up, Sarah? I can pull it up too.
I do, yes. Next week we have Alertus Power Lunch device management, keeping your alert beacons and other hardware up to date. So that'll be a really helpful session, especially if you are like updating devices or needing to add new alert beacons to your system. We'll walk through all of that with you, as well as setting up like groups and targeting specific devices.
Awesome.
So hopefully we'll see you there.